Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Monaco.
And I'm Bobby Salvesen. We are the Hazmat Guys, bringing you knowledge and insight to make your job a little bit easier and safer.
Let's take a minute to hear about today's sponsors.
Hey guys, Bobby from the Hazmat Guys here, and this episode is brought to you by FLIR Systems. If you're not sure about your white powder is fentanyl, or maybe you suspect that you have an explosive hazard, or you need to confirm that the leaking barrel is toxic, the FLIR Griffin G510 GCMS is your go-to for next-level on-scene chemical identification. Mounted in your vehicle or carried to the point of sample collection, it is always ready. Using the built-in touchscreen, start the method wizard to help you select the best method for the mission. If you have no time, no lab, it's no problem. You can quickly identify unknown chemicals with accuracy. To learn more, go to FLIR.com/G510, or that's FLIR, FLIR.com/G510.
Let's get to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys. We are on episode 209, and I'm here with Mike.
Hey guys, how are you?
Delightful. Just delicious. Luscious.
Hey, I'm in California right now, and you're in New York, and it's cold there, and I'm not cold.
It's not terrible. My wife's actually in Chicago, and she is bundled up, and she had her hat and her gloves and her puffy jacket and stuff on. She's taking a picture of herself like a clown running around that silver blob thing that's in the middle of Chicago. And I'm like, yeah, it's not so bad today. It's still like 50 degrees here.
All right, that's not too bad. The cold must be coming then.
Oh, it's definitely coming. I saw it on the map the other day, so it's she's a coming. So yeah.
Well, as long as we're talking about places that we're going to be anywhere anytime soon.
Honestly, it's kind of the off season, and so we are working full tilt ahead on two aspects. I'm going to say the website, if you haven't checked it out, the new website is pretty freaking awesome.
It is. Challenge coins. Hello, people.
Oh, wait. No. I just got the helmet stickers in today.
No. How do they look? Oh, are we even talking about the helmet stickers?
We can say that. It is, yeah. We custom designed 10 for your pleasure.
Yes.
Helmet stickers that you can find anywhere else. We added our little flavor into it, and so we have things like supine position certified, lightning rod operator. We have non-intervention specialist. We have a whole bunch of things that you can put on your helmet to make you part of the club and really accentuate where you stand.
I am definitely putting a non-intervention specialist on my helmet. There's no doubt about that.
We have 10 of them, and we have. I mean, that's kind of the thing is we have a ton of products, and I'm hoping that they're all funny enough for all you clowns out there. So
yes.
Yeah.
And if you can write a review about the products that's funnier than our description of the products,
you might get a free one.
You might get a free one. You got to make us laugh. If you can make us laugh, you're in.
That's the name of the game. So All right, so this episode is about an operation that myself and you and me, myself and I and you and other people were at.
Well, we've got, sort of.
Allegedly.
So, we've been to plenty of these propane burn-offs.
Yes.
The way that this episode actually came about was that we had a chief come up and ask us questions because they're rewriting the book on some of the books.
Right.
And we kind of got into a propane discussion, just a generalized propane discussion. And the new guys started asking questions, just those general, like, I don't understand questions. And they were from such a point of view of a new person that I would never even have thought of those questions. Like, they wouldn't be something that I would think of because my mind is too cluttered with so much other stuff. And so I was like, well, you know what? Like, that's often very true, right? You get a new person in there, and they, very much like we talk about thinking like a child, think like a child, right? They don't have preconceived notions. They haven't seen an operation done before. They haven't experienced whatever it is that makes us not think of these questions. So I wrote down some of the questions, and I figured we would answer them for any of the new people out there.
Right, and it's a propane. What was a propane leak?
Yes.
Right. So let me just set the scene. I'll set the scene, and then Mike can ask me. We'll do like a back and forth, and we'll kind of just tease this whole thing out. But basically, run of the mill happens all the time. You know, I'm joking.
They kind of do.
They kind
At
of
least
do.
for us. I mean, barbecue
Yeah.
tanks. You know, we don't have anything massive.
But these were forklift tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the difference between a propane tank that goes on the side of your propane is that's typically a steel tank, and it is vapor only. And this one is typically an aluminum tank. I'm not saying, because I know I'm going to get a call from somebody.
Oh, now you're doing it. Here comes angry hazmat typing guy.
Typically, it's aluminum, and it also has typically a liquid outline. And this thing could be like a hockey stick where it kind of hooks at the end down towards where it should be sitting on the pegs. So what we got called for was a slow leak in a propane tank. And these things, I can never remember because they always change. Is it 40 pounder or a 50 pounder?
I think it's a 40 pounder.
I think it's 40.
Let's go with 40.
We're going to 40, and whoever else, F you. So there you go.
If you want to correct us, go ahead, but we're not changing the audio.
We're just changing that. So this is a very simplistic tank. It had basically a liquid out with a small little screw-type stop valve on it. It had a little spitter valve, and I think that was it. And, it had a big, almost like a purge port.
Yeah, like you could almost unbolt and have a 1/4 inch, or what was it, probably a 3/8 hole in the side of the tank.
Yeah. So okay, so that you got the scenario. We had one tank that was relatively empty, right?
Yes.
It had, you shook it. There was nothing in the bottom, and we had another one that had some sizable amount of liquid in it. We up to this point, I'm just going to leave it there, but I'll ask the first question of Mike. So
okay, go ahead.
One of the first things that we did. One of the first thing, not the first thing, but one of the first things that we did was we opened up our hazmat kit. And truth be told, a lot of our hazmat tools and kit is old school. Like way before companies started putting together these enormous kits and selling them for a lot of money, we made our own tools.
Everything. Burn-off kits.
Everything.
With Mongo adapters and all sorts of things.
And to be perfectly honest with you, me and Mike, we have no problem sharing that stuff with you if you have an email or whatever. What do you have for this? But you're going to be quite disappointed because the stuff is so freaking old. But it works, and it's just old brass fittings that we have piecemeal together from epochs and eons of hazmat response. And so one of the first things that we did was we put on a pressure gauge.
Right.
So the question was, well, if we have a leak, why do I need to know the pressure? Right? If what is that going to do for me? I have a leak. Theoretically, if as a layperson, it should be going down in pressure. Why do I even care? I kind of know where it's going, right?
Yeah, so we want to throw that gauge on because it's just part of our assessment. And it's part of getting an idea of what's happening inside the tank. And actually, we're going to do this whether it's leaking or not. Because again, if it's not leaking and it was leaking, we need to find out like what's going on. So let's say we had a scenario where it was leaking, and we want to see what is going on. What is the pressure inside that tank? If the pressure is within normal limits, right, then where it's leaking from could be a container failure. It could be a PRD failure, pressure reducing device failure. If it's leaking like from the PRD and you have a spike in your pressure, then I know there's something going on inside of the tank.
Okay.
Conversely, if it's not leaking and I throw that gauge on and I have a high pressure, particularly higher than what that pressure relief device should be, I know I have a big problem because I have a container that is not releasing itself. So the safety, for some way, shape, or form, has, through nefarious or just through dumb luck, is no longer working.
We actually had something like this, where I don't know where you guys are from, but we had Blue Rhino in our area that, and there's a bunch of different things. They kind of fill these tanks up, and it was in a truck, and it was being transported in mass. There was a whole bunch of cylinders, and this guy got into an accident and lost like 5 or 6 of them, and they hit the ground and bounced and dinged and dented, whatever the hell happened. And so when we came up to this thing, the pressure inside the tank is relative to the vapor pressure of the propane. And I'm kind of going off script here, Mike, but
Right.
humor me for a second. And so when we screwed on our vapor, our pressure gauge, it was way over where we thought it would be. And now this is
And
why.
it wasn't leaking.
It wasn't leaking, not at all. It was because it came down really hard on the neck of the cylinder, and so it must have cramped, whatever the hell it did with the PRD, but it also put a sizable dent because the neck was driven and the steel was pressed down into the tank. And so everybody knows back from chemistry that when you reduce the volume of the tank, the pressure in the tank goes up.
Right.
Okay? So now, some of the newer guys, and I'm kind of just jogging back to this run, some of the newer guys were like, well, and these are pretty smart newer guys, they were like, well, if I reduce the volume of the tank, then shouldn't some of the vapor condense back to liquid and come back to equilibrium? And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. It won't happen quickly. It might take 3 days. It might take a week. I don't know. But when we get there, because it's relatively quick, it's going to be a higher pressure. So that's like what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, and there's you can dent those tanks far enough in where you actually lose that vapor space. Like you lose that vapor space altogether, and then instead of having the pressure of the vapor, now you're having pressure of uncompressible liquid.
Yeah, hydraulic
Pressure.
It's basically how like a floor jack works.
Right, and now
you can't compress that.
You can cause that pressure to go to really skyrocket with very little change in temperature and things along those lines. So throwing a gauge on is definitely a good idea if you don't really know what's going on with the tank. If you walk up to the tank and it's leaking out of the neck, then whatever, you're going to burn it off anyway. But
yeah, two things, I'm going to throw this on the pressure gauge kind of thing. If I see, I can generally, and depending where you live and all that stuff, there is a chart for this stuff, but generally, the ambient temperature times 2 is the pressure.
yes,
This does not work when you start getting real cold.
right. It is a kind of a close to standard temperature and pressure thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, you refer to the chart. There's just charts online and stuff like that. But if I go, okay, it's 42 degrees, I should have roughly 85, 90 degrees, and I see 114 or I see 12. Now I got that. Why? Why? You should say why.
Yeah. And throwing the pressure gauge on is a great way to be able to just kind of get a better idea of what's happening in the tank.
Totally.
So throw that on. All right, Bob, I got a question for you.
Go.
All right, so he asks, is there an order to connect the flare-off kit? So he wanted to kind of know, like, should I start from one end, start from another, or does it really not matter?
I'm going to say, and I know there's going to be guys that are, there are guys out there that are listening that are much better in propane than I am, but I'm going to give you my personal, honest opinion. I do not think there is an important manner to hook the things up. I do, however, think that there's an important manner to start the gas, to confirm.
Do explain.
All right, so the personal kit that we elected to use on this particular run had, it's almost embarrassing to say this, we had 5 shutoffs.
Yes.
And I mean this literally 5 shutoffs from the point where it actually came out of the stack back to where it went into the tank. And so we build the whole system, And while we were building the system, so you got the thing that that defeats the flow, and then you put on the valve, and that has the pressure gauge that has a stop valve. Then you hook up the hose that has a stop valve. Then it goes to the gate that has a stop valve, and then you go up to the neck and that has a stop valve. It's like, Jesus Christ, how many stop valves?
How many times do I have to open this to get it to flow?
So I will say I will go from either tank to flare or flare to tank. I personally prefer flare to tank, because I'm walking away from where I know it's going to be coming out, and that's where the flammable zone is.
But our homemade kit doesn't have any shutoffs.
No, we have a homemade, home-built, home-brewed kit, and then we have a pro grade, we'll say.
A pro grade, an amateur version, and a professional version.
Yes, indeed. and our amateur version has nothing. I don't even know if it has a single shutoff in it. And guys prefer it. They like it. The new version has 5, and I think that's excessive.
I think it's excessive too. Honestly, I think the reason why the guys get a little turned off on the new system is because there's so many options. Right? Like when we opened the tank, or not when we opened the tank, when we were looking to connect the tank, there was just a lot of different options. Yeah. And although our kit has a lot of different options in it as well, I guess people were just used to, I don't know, simple. I guess it's just, it's a simple, or we've just been using it for 20 odd years and everybody is comfortable with it.
Right.
But either way, they're both good kits.
Yeah, they work. All right, next question is, do we always want to empty a tank when we flare?
Yeah. So this was a question that came out because there's times that we don't. And so, no, we don't always have to empty the tank when we flare. And this goes back to throwing the gauge on it to see kind of like what's going on. Perfect example. You got a tank that's leaking from the PDR, the pressure relief device, PRD rather. You quickly throw your pressure gauge on it, and that pressure gauge spikes. Just the needle gets pegged, or it's way, way, way high. My initial thought right there is that I am not dealing with pressure in vapor space. I'm dealing with like an overfilled tank that is now a hydraulic pressure. There's nothing wrong with the tank other than the fact that it got overfilled, right?
Okay.
So the pressure relief device is doing its job, and the tank is doing its job. Everybody's doing its job. So really what I want to do is just kind of get rid of some product inside that tank. So why waste the tank? Why waste the propane? If I start to bleed this off, the pressure relief device goes down. Flare it off. If I start flaring it off, the pressure relief device shuts off. I stop the flare. My pressure's where it's supposed to be for ambient temperature. I have no reason to finish the rest of the tank. I can unhook it, hand it off to the owner of the barbecue tank or the high-low, whatever it is, and say, okay, that's it. That's all it needed.
Hey guys, you've heard us talk about First Line Technologies, Dahlgren Decon Solution, and their FiberTech wipes and mitts. Well, they've had a lot of their customers ask them to provide in-depth training on using Dahlgren Decon, FiberTech wipes, as well as their various kits, and now they've created a First Line Utilization Academy to deliver the range of classes designed to improve their students' knowledge of hybrid decontamination. They have a special comprehensive Train the Trainer course designed to prepare trainers and hazmat team leaders to return to their organizations and conduct training. The participants in this course will receive a template lesson plan, a presentation they can use to train their teams, and a quick reference book they can use in the field. Now, class size for the Train the Trainer class is limited to 6 to 8 participants, and classes fill up fast, so reserve your desired training date today. They will also conduct customized on-site classes to entire teams to give everybody both classroom instruction and hands-on experience in using Dahlgren Decon and FiberTech wipes for hybrid decontamination. Call the guys at First Line Technology for more information or to register for a class at 703-955-7510 or email them at training@firstlinetech.com. All right, let's pick up where we left off. All right, you said this, I just want to clarify it. You said the pressure gauge spikes. What do you mean by that? Because I think, I'm gonna guess that most people that listen to this know that pressure of propane is pretty well known. It's a static number based upon ambient temperature. It's based upon vapor pressure versus ambient temperature.
Right. Obviously, the higher the temperature, the greater the vapor pressure the product becomes, the more pressure goes up in the vapor space of the tank. But if I don't have vapor space in the tank, then the pressure is not due from the vapor. The pressure is actually the hydraulic pressure of the fluid trying to expand as it heats up.
So when we have a vapor space, we have compressibility. But when I have liquid, I do not have compressibility.
None. Right? We can't compress liquids. We can compress gases. So if my needle shoots like almost instantaneously, it spikes up, and it's well past whatever any kind of temperature should be for the tank, then I'm pretty sure that my tank has been overfilled. I'm getting a hydraulic pressure on that tank. That's the reason my pressure relief device is going off, or my pressure relief device should be going off at that point. And if I just flare off some of the product, I'm going to drop down, create a vapor space, and now that tank, that perfectly good tank that was leaking, is only leaking because it was overfilled. It was literally doing its job. It was working properly. It's not defective. It's not faulty. I can just unscrew my tank and hand it back.
Okay. All right.
Right? I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. The other question was, why go through all this? Why can't we just open the tank and use the hose line? And he asked this question legitimately, right? And it was because, like, we keep talking about how we can use the hose line to disperse vapors. So he goes, well, why don't we just do that? Like, if the hose line is so good at dispersing vapors, why don't we just turn it on and disperse all the vapors and be done with it?
All right. I'm going to say first question you have to ask, are you on overtime?
Is it close to the hour?
It is close, yeah. So, all right. So if you, all right, is it a possible tactic? I will say yes. Is it a preferred tactic? I will say no. Here's the reasoning. Typically, when we're saying we're going to do this, first off, we have to defeat, and this is regardless of what kind of tank you're using, you're going to have to defeat the flow protection, right? And the way we do this is you take an old barbecue, any old barbecue, and you screw in the old fitting, and then you cut the line maybe an inch or two past that thing. That will defeat. That it actually presses the plunger inside the valve body and allows it to flow. Because if you just turn on the valve on any propane tank you get at home, it does not flow.
That has the overflow protection device.
Yeah. Which is two parts. Overflow protection device lets it not flow when you just open a valve, and / prevents overflowing out of the valve, which is something we ran into a little bit, but maybe we'll get back into that. But so it does two things. It doesn't let it just free flow out the valve, and it also prevents too much of it coming out the valve. So this little device will allow you to burn it off. Now, the problem is that I have gallons of liquid inside there, and every gallon of liquid, every 1 gallon of liquid will become 270 gallons of vapor. And so I am waiting 270 times more for, if I have it correctly positioned where the valve is up and vapor is coming out, I'm waiting 270 times more. So you're like, Bobby, that's a freaking great idea. Why don't I just flip this thing upside down and do the same operation? I will get so much faster. You're right. You absolutely will. The problem with it is, at a certain point in this vapor cloud that you are hydraulically ventilating probably pretty well, you may, I'm not going to say may, you absolutely will, 100% in some place, somewhere, you will have a flammable range. And now the question is, in that flammable range, do you have an ignition source? And it could be pouring into Joe and Nancy, great people, make an awesome steak. Their basement? I don't know. Is it going into this guy's basement? Is it going into this guy's outhouse? Is it going into this guy's shed that he built underground because he's a prepper? I don't know. If he flips the switch, if he has something running, if he's running his drill, all it takes is that drill to be in that sweet spot, and you're done. So is it a tactic? Yes, it is a tactic. If you work in a freaking field, but if you're in anything that has the potential of an ignition source in that zone, this is not something you should push up as number 1. Maybe it's number 5.
Yeah, and definitely is like an emergency thing, because if you have any other option, you really like almost legally through the EPA, you need to be burning it off and not letting it out if you have any other option.
Much safer. Much safer because you're consuming the product. All you're giving off is the whatever. You understand what we're saying. So
yeah, it's a barbecue at that point.
Okay, next question is, why don't we just barrel burn all the tanks? Now, first off, I think you're going to have to explain what barrel burning is before we get into what the hell.
So the quick of a barrel burn is there are times, and I'll go into why, we need to burn from a barrel. We need to take that propane tank, we need to dunk it in water, and we need to light off the vapors as they bubble up to the surface. So the reason that we do the barrel burn is because for some reason we cannot connect the flare stack to the tank. The threads are damaged. There is, for some reason, it's just usually damaged threads.
It's too risky. Or even like a shoulder tear.
Yeah, something.
Like something that's just too much. I can't do it.
If I have a lot of product coming out and I have basically so much product coming out of the tank that it's not, it's not worth it the time that it's going to take to flare stack. I'm going to have too much product coming out. I'm going to go ahead and barrel burn. So there are definitely certain times that we do it. We don't do it for everything because it's like if letting it go is option 5, the barrel burn is option 4, because I have no control over the burn, right? I am literally just dunking the tank under the water. I have no way of turning it off. I have no way, if something goes wrong, oh well. Like, it is what it is. You just have to wait for all the propane to be gone and to burn off. So because of the fact that we can't control it very well, we try to save the barrel burn as like the last resort burn off.
And just so nobody out there just goes and does this. This is basic tank 101, is that the entire tank must be underwater completely in order to happen. So we have a board that we wedge underwater.
Yeah, like way underwater.
Underwater.
Yeah.
So like it is a technique, and it is not something to just, let me give this a whack. Because if it goes sideways, like propane's bubbling in your face on a liquid phase, there's a lot of potential. I will say I am very happy with this technique. I would absolutely do this technique. It is a very viable technique. I don't frown on this technique at all. No, this is a very strong piece.
We've both been at runs where it didn't go bad, but it went a little sideways.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And now looking back on it, it's like, well, we could have done this a little better. But This is easily flare or burn barrel, 1 or 2, depending on very few things. But I will absolutely do a burn barrel. I will do 6 or 7 burn barrels in parallel rather than doing one flare.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I had a large amount of tanks that I had to get rid of all at once, like I had a bunch of tanks leaking, absolutely, I would set up multiple drums and do multiple burn-offs.
Yeah, that's a bunt move. That's easy.
Yeah. All right, so this next question was kind of specific to that run that Bob was talking about that we had with the 40-pound tank. We had a 40-pound tank the other day. It was outside. It was labeled liquid, so we knew it was a liquid line. When we were burning it off, a smaller flame than the barbecue tank that we practice on was coming out of the flare. If it's liquid, shouldn't there be more flames? Why did this tank burn so small and take so long?
Yeah, so I'll say the stack was maybe the flare, the actual flame, maybe 3 feet. It was unimpressive.
Unimpressive. Usually we like to see this go whoosh.
Oh my God! It's like, holy crap! Everybody's like, taking their children and running away.
Yeah. The Irish are putting sunblock on their face.
Not happening. And actually, this is totally me. When we put on, we had the valve open. And then we screwed in our defeating device. And what happened was immediately liquid came out of this thing. And we're like, holy crap. And we shut down the valve. This is truth. This is absolute truth. This is what actually happened. So we're like, oh, geez, did you see that? Wow, that was crazy. And then we hook up all this stuff. And the guy with the flare goes over to the thing and lights the stack. And then we start the gas. And okay, fine. And the way this happens is there's a ball bearing for just describing this. It's a ball bearing in a cage. And it hangs at the bottom. And when there's too much flow, the flow pushes the ball bearing north, like up in the cage, and it actually comes into seat. And in the seat, between the ball bearing and the seat, there's a little groove that goes along the side of the ball bearing. And that's important because what it does is it allows that ball bearing to equalize between outside and inside. Anybody that's had their propane tank on their barbecue and has had all the valves open, and you turn on the barbecue valve on the tank, you don't get any flow. What you got to do is you got to shut down the tank, bleed out all the pressure on the barbecue side, disconnect the valve, reconnect everything, shut everything down, because what has to happen is it has to be built up in stage. And so when I let that liquid propane out in the beginning, I completely screwed up the whole operation. It was like, and now because this flow is happening past this little bitty freaking valley next to the ball bearing, it actually froze in place. So at a certain point, maybe 15, 20 minutes in, I was like, dude, something is wrong. This should be a rocket. Right. And I'm like, let's break everything down. Like, we broke everything down, and then Mike, we hooked it back up, still didn't do it. We broke it back down, and Mike goes, hold on a second. He takes the tank and smashes it against the ground, like along the foot ring. Yeah. And you heard the ting, dink. And we're like, oh, shit, there it is. We hook it back up. The freaking flame comes out 40 feet to the point where she's like, shut it down. You're going to burn down a school.
You're burning the tree.
You're going to burn the tree. And so what we had to do is you had to find the sweet spot of where that ball bearing would come up to seat. And we played with it like 6 or 7 times, because then at that point it became a teaching moment to show the new guys what we screwed up on. And this is it. It still doesn't sit well with me because I should have known it, and I let it go because we were like almost too proud to say, well, maybe we should reevaluate this. You know,
well, you just kind of look at it and you're like, yeah, maybe. But that ball bearing, you know, in a liquid tank like that, it serves a great purpose, because if that were to get ripped off, if the line were to get ripped off of the high-low, you want to make sure that liquid isn't pouring out of that line. So you just you just got to open it a little and feather it.
Right. And that's exactly what we had to do. We had to play a little bit, but before long, it was gone. All right, so let's talk about why old Clem at the propane, Clem, and I've actually had this in real life happen to me, where the kid at the propane filling station, I bring my propane tank. I don't know what happens around your house, but I'm able to bring my propane tank that I purchased to the tank farm or whatever, the filling station, and I give it to him, and I say, fill this up, and he goes, okay, no problem. He puts it on like a hook, and he fills it up with 20 pounds of propane on a scale. I've actually had the guy says, He opened up the bleeder valve, which is a little port to let out the vapor space, and he overfilled it. He brought it above the 80% line.
And he's like, "Hey,
I took care, buddy. Yeah, I took care of you, man." And I'm like, "No, this is not good. You need to give me another tank." He's like, "Dude, I gave you more propane. You have more than you paid for. This is good." So why are tanks only filled with 80? Go with that whole story and tell them why that's not a good idea.
Well, this actually refers back to what we were talking about before, where the damaged tank took away the vapor space. But instead of the tank being damaged, the idiot filling your tank did literally the same thing.
Right.
He took away all that vapor space. So now the slightest increase in temperature is going to cause the propane inside to literally expand.
The liquid.
And the liquid is going to expand, not like a vapor pressure expand, but literally when you heat up liquids, they get a little bit bigger. But if it's in a confined area, it's going to push against the side of the tank, and it's going to start doing this with tremendous pressure. Like the pressure goes up really, really fast. The PRD gets almost instantly overtaken, and your propane tank is going to piss out a ton of both liquid and then vapor until the pressure starts to go back down. In the meantime, you could fill up your car with propane vapors. You could fill up your shed with propane vapors. You could fill up your basement with propane vapors. And a lot of it, because if you have maybe, let's say, a quarter gallon of extra liquid, that's 270 quarter gallons of vapor. So it's a lot. That little bit is a lot. So they're not doing you any favors by overfilling it. And it goes back again to that hydraulic pressure.
And it's much worse when you get your tank filled in the winter and let it sit until the summer, because the temperature is trending up, versus getting it filled in the summer at that plus 80% and let it go into winter. You won't have a problem if you get it filled in August and it goes, and basically you could probably get it for the whole year, right? Yeah. And if anybody doesn't understand what I just said, look it up. I don't know.
Yeah, or listen to.
I'm not explaining it.
If you don't understand what he said, go listen to our Boyle's Law and Pressure episode. I don't know which one it was, but it's out there where we talk about our good friends.
That jerk. He still owes me money. I will say it.
Well, and that kind of refers back to this. I know you touched on it a little bit. Why don't you expand a little bit more? Why does the temperature affect the pressure in relation to the 2 times ambient pressure? And is this true with all liquefied gases?
Okay, so does temperature affect pressure? Yes. All right, this is one of those basic tenets of chemistry. This is, oh man, is it Guy Lussac's law? Crap, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up, but it is a law. There's a law on this, and you don't want to, go against the law.
No.
I can't remember what the hell it is. Is it Guy Lussac's?
I don't know.
God. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. So temperature and pressure, yes, they are in direct correlation. And so as temperature goes up, pressure goes up. And the 2-time ambient pressure is a adorable little rule of thumb that works great for temperate.
Yeah, like standard temperature and pressure to about 120 degrees.
Yeah, like 120 degrees would be probably good. I mean, like anywhere from like 50, maybe 60 up to 120, maybe something like that. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. But like if it's 20 degrees out Fahrenheit, it's not going to be close. I mean,
you start to...
It starts becoming less accurate when you start going sub like 50 degrees ambient.
Right.
So it's... Don't hang your hat on it. But is it true for all liquefied gases? 2 times the ambient? No. Every gas has a different vapor. It honestly depends on the vapor pressure.
Yeah.
And this kind of comes around, and this is something I wanted to kind of sweep up on in the beginning, but I kind of fell around, and I'm just going to take the second to do it, is that a lot of things, liquefied gases act differently, and they act differently with pressure and with weight. Right? So one of the first things that we did was we grabbed the scale, the rig scale, and we threw the tank on it, and on the ring it says the tare weight of the cylinder, which was 21 pounds if memory serves. And
yes, it was.
So we weighed it, and it roughly had 12 pounds of liquid in there. And we quickly looked up, and you say, okay, 8.33 pounds per gallon for water, but what is propane? Well, propane, again, you have to look this stuff up, it's not easy. And this is why I say paint marker your boxes. Like, don't look this up every time. It's about 4 pounds per gallon. So we knew we had roughly 3 gallons, right? So 4 pounds per gallon, we knew we had 3 gallons. And if you're doing a liquid drop, which we should have been doing, it should have been over in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And yet we were there for like 20 minutes shaking our heads going, yeah, this is going
on
slow.
here?
This sucks.
It's embarrassing. You're like, this doesn't always happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, whatever. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yeah, it's all good. All learning experiences.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel at The Hazmat Guys, and take a moment to call our comment hotline at 843-628-1484.
And we are always looking forward to your feedback about information or interesting incidents that you were a part of. So send us a note at feedback@thehazmatguys.com.
Remember, guys, don't just get on the job, get into the job.